Welcome to each and every one of you. We are so honored and excited that you are here at this Speaker Series presentation. I'm Reverend Janet Childs, and it's my pleasure to be a part of the Speaker Series team that makes this possible. And thank you for joining us as Universal Church of the Masters Speaker Series. And we just invite you to take a nice deep breath. And just get yourself here because we are in for a treat. We are in for a treat. It is Reverend Joyce C. Brown, and she is an amazing wisdom keeper, mentor, and life experiencer that does so many things in our world to bring healing and hope to people and to help them gather together their resources to be the best people they can be. And Reverend Joyce C. has just been an incredible gift to our community and to our world. And she has many gifts. She is, just incredibly gifted at supporting people, giving readings, spiritual readings, doing spiritual mentorship and coaching, providing counseling and support. And she also does things in the world, and she is a great teacher. And because Joyce C. comes from lived experiences, she can really address the issue. I like me. Ways to build our own self-regard. And as you take your time, and thank you all for taking your time to be here in this moment, we just want you to know that your energy in this meeting is important as well, and it creates the place for us to birth learning and the gift of wisdom sharing led by our wonderful Reverend Joyce C. Now, what I am going to do is I'm going to light a candle.
That's a lovely,
pretty.
Love the origami heart, which is that symbol of love, and the candle is the symbol of light that we can bring to and with each other as we are, as I'm hoping I can light the candle. Let's see if I can. There we go.
Hey.
Yay, all the combined energies made it happen. There it is. All lit up for you, Reverend Joyce C. There it is. So know that as you hold the light and as we share the light tonight, you are truly making a difference. And so we are so excited to explore I like me.
And greetings, everyone. And the truth is, I actually do like me. And I discovered this when I was rather young, and it'll come out as I read this piece. I wrote it down so I wouldn't be trying to remember it. But not only did I discover I liked me as a little girl, but I still like me as a full-on grown-up woman. I still like me. So the importance of liking oneself. This is what came up for me over the years. So let me just read. To discover that you are likable to you is one of the most positive, life-affirming ways of living. It is part of how you strengthen yourself emotionally, mentally, and physically day to day, which also strengthens you spiritually. An important doorway to enjoy being who you are is to realize that life obstacles are removable and replaceable with a positive, conscious outlook. I am looking forward to sharing with you ways to reclaim your life through liking you. One of the most important parts of my life was knowing that my daddy liked me. This is incredibly significant for me. Even as a child, we know when we are not liked or when we are liked or not liked. To be loved by my father was never a question. His kindness and love were always present. To be liked by him
You can come over here
set the
if you like.
stage for my
It's up to
life
you.
of being able to like me. I never felt in danger. He never hurt me. He always listened to me. He would take me for walks. He would talk and share with me with an open, caring heart. His actions placed in me a sense of who I was as Joyce C. His actions towards me told me that he liked me and that he accepted me for who I was. He was kind, caring, and he protected me from my mother, who was abusive. All of this meant that he liked me, because otherwise I did not feel liked or loved by my mother or my siblings. One of the many ways I knew he liked me was the day he let me win King of the Hill. I was feeling left out playing King of the Hill with my siblings. They said I was too little to play with the big kids. I was so sad. Daddy came along and asked me what was wrong. I told him the others wouldn't let me play with them. So he took me by my hand and said, "Okay, Joyce C., let's play King of the Hill." He started to run up the hill, which was a really big mound of dirt. We were both laughing. Daddy had to stop running because he was laughing so hard. He was a tall, bow-legged man. While he was standing there laughing, I scooted through his legs and ran to the top of the hill. And there I was standing, jumping up and down, and I was saying, "I beat you, Daddy, I beat you." And through his laughter, I heard him say, "Sure enough, Joyce C., sure enough." He then took my hand and we walked down the hill together. We were both smiling all the way. I was such a happy kid. This was one of the many experiences instilled in me that I was okay. And my daddy's huge presence in my life created a strong foundation that no matter what, I was okay. At that early age, I didn't know the importance of liking me. My childhood was very difficult. For my daddy to like me was one thing. For me to like me was quite another. What we think about ourselves translates into how we present ourselves to the world. There are endless ways to see oneself. The way we feel, believe, and think about ourselves is the image we present to those around us. We become the good or not so good impression which we hold about ourselves. This is the way that others eventually will accept and perhaps treat us. What we think, believe, feel, and act out as true will become true over time. As a child, I was learning from the world around me. It came to me I was not to like myself. I was to feel less than. I had these hidden desires to become something more than a farmer doing day work in cotton fields or being a maid or cook. I wanted to learn beyond what was set in place, limiting and supposedly befitting me as a young Black girl. I was puzzled and confused. In 1962, when I was 12 years of age, what was left of our family left Mississippi in the middle of the night. My parents, my sister, and I and our three brothers caught a bus out of Clarksdale, Mississippi, and came to Santa Barbara, California, arriving on Christmas Eve, where we were greeted by my two older sisters who were already located there. Leaving Mississippi was very exciting and frightening at the same time. We were on the lookout for police coming to arrest Daddy because we were literally escaping from a type of servitude, being on a cotton farm owned by a white family. We were not supposed to leave. The excitement was going to a place I had never heard of and knew there were greater opportunities for me and my family to move beyond being day workers, which means you did a lot of work and made very little money. The difficulty and challenge to my liking myself was that Santa Barbara was predominantly white, although there were some Blacks and large Hispanic community. This was essentially true in the school system there. It is hard to like yourself when you feel so different than students around you, especially when you are a child. I was experiencing an integrated school system for the first time. In Mississippi, my schools and communities were all Black, with the exception of the white farm families, and we were not to mingle with one another. So my world in Mississippi was all Black. My church, my school, the people we worked by side in the fields, hoeing the cotton and other crops. Santa Barbara school system was quite different and yet not so different than the Mississippi schools I was in. Regardless of race, students acted much the same, being silly, doing pranks, teasing others, and being rude little kids. What was of the biggest challenge to me in Santa Barbara was the Black students. There was this sense of being superior to me because my being from Mississippi, my accent was very Southern and different than theirs. The stereotypes were in full force. They learned that my family and I were field workers and lived on farms with hogs and chickens and cows and horses, and that we also worked in cotton and other crop fields. I did not feel that I belonged, and I was uncomfortable. Another great challenge for me was that in Mississippi as a child, you learned very early on that you respected your elders and teachers. This was a custom that was strictly adhered to. In Santa Barbara, I was being called out because of my respectful speech and behavior towards my teachers. I raised my hands and I would stand up to address the teacher when I had a question or when answering a question. The teachers liked it. The other students did not. This all challenged my sense of liking me. My teen years, junior high and high school continued the same way. It was very challenging for me. I was still very Southern in my speech and polite to the teachers and those in authority at the schools. I was getting left out of things, being exposed to rudeness. It was mostly the girls my age, and I decided they would not stop me. I dressed differently. My clothes were still like those I wore in Mississippi. In Santa Barbara, the young girls dressed with more sophistication, more like adults, pretending to be older than they were. I wasn't like the other children of my same age group. I was also very polite to grown-ups and acted like I knew my place. I wasn't trying to fit in to the adult conversation. You just listen and learn what you could. My inner strength began to emerge, and I was learning to stand up for myself. I found my voice in a different way, and I was more present. I didn't allow it to bother me what the other children were doing to me. If that meant I didn't have friends, that would be fine. I went home, and my daddy was there, and he made the difference for me. That told me it was okay to be me. In the process, I was maturing. Things started to change once I graduated from high school, and Aretha Franklin's Respect hit the charts. This was a significant turning point for me. The whole idea of respecting myself changed me from the inside to the outside. The way I thought about myself changed from not being heard or seen to have a voice and being seen. I discovered that I like this new Joyce C emerging from being invisible to being visible. I like this new way of being in the world. I went to junior college in Santa Barbara, which was walking distance from the beach from my home. I was introduced to a diversity of students, not just the Santa Barbara teenagers I knew, but there were students from other high schools, from out of the area and from out of the state. What I discovered was that I was able to talk with other students who didn't treat me with a lack of respect. My confidence grew, and the awareness and importance of liking me came home in a profound way. I started liking myself better because myself was reflected back from those around me in this new environment. I knew I could grow and achieve what I set out to do. It was the support of self that opened the way for me to enroll at UC Santa Barbara. Through all this, my daddy was right there with me. He always encouraged me to go to school. He did not go to school after the age of 10, so encouraging me to do my best in school, even though it was difficult beginnings for me in Santa Barbara, was a deep sense of pride and happiness for him. Daddy talked to me and we hung out together when I was not in school. And he was not hanging out with his buddies who were driving big machines for the city, repairing the cliff at the local beach 2 blocks from where we were living. He was always asking me if I was learning, which was his way of asking if I was learning. And I always said, yes, Daddy, I'm learning. And Daddy would say, well then, Joyce C., well then. This was his way of encouraging me. It was his pride in my achievements that kept me going. I recalled as a child, my daddy always encouraged me from king of the hill to the fact I asked him a lot of questions about everything I wanted to know. He told me all he felt I was ready for. I felt liked. This relationship continued till his passing in 1972. His passing was very sudden. He was in the hospital with a broken hip, and we expected him to return home. But the injury was more extensive, and I think he was just ready to let go. But his memory and incredible support lives on in me. I felt loved by my daddy, and I felt liked by my daddy. Such an incredible gift. It taught me the value of liking myself, and it is a priceless gift, which I continue to this day. And it is a gift I pass on to others, the value of liking yourself. When you like yourself, this is the gateway to making incredible life changes. This is about you. This is not about what others think. I discovered that those around me, I discovered that those around us think that we present to them through our words and actions. We are the ones we define who we are. Do you want to be liked and respected by others? This can be a narrow road to travel, especially when this is based on what you believe others think about you. I feel the road to travel is believing and practice liking oneself. Whether anyone like me is their decision. It is important to remember the ways we treat ourselves is how the world will treat us. It was through liking and respecting myself that I achieved and reached my goals. Take time in life to get to know yourself. Depending on what you discover, you are the one to keep or let go of what is not working for you. You have the power to make incredible life changes. What you set into motion about who you are from a true place is what you create in your life. This is another way of living through liking yourself. You may not have someone in your life to support and encourage you in liking yourself, but know you are an amazing being. Surround yourself daily with positive wisdom as a foundation for getting to know you. Know thyself is such important wisdom. Give thought to what it is about you that you like. This is a very important step, as it is a motivation for how you bring about the life you want to live more fully and honoring who you are. Remember, it is your mind that directs your views about you and the world. It is your mind's belief that determine how you live your life. Don't abandon the power of liking yourself for what others may think about you. That's it. And I want you all to know that I do like me. And I have found that it was a very difficult time for me in my early life. I wrote notes about it, but it was a very difficult time for me to like myself when I was around individuals who thought that somehow something was different about me because I came from Mississippi. And they had all these stereotypes about Black folks. And this was coming from everybody, but Black folks were doing a lot of it also against Black folks coming in from Southern states because we had a whole different approach to how you did things. And the way families were living together and all kinds of things was different. And it wasn't easy sometimes making the adjustment. But then I still had my daddy for quite a long time. And because of his strength, not my siblings, not my mother, but this one amazing man called Joseph Levi Thomas Brown, that I was able to be strong as Joyce C. Brown. And then I could find my way. It is very important to know that what you think of yourself is the greatest gift you can give you. It truly is. Because if you go looking for others to tell you how wonderful you are, sometimes people just give you talk. They're supposed to say it. But when you can look at yourself, get a mirror or a puddle of water, whatever works, or you can just sit in a room and talk to yourself and say, hey, good morning. I like you. It's an amazing thing. It feels good because you're not kidding. You see, you actually like you. You don't need somebody else to tell you. You see, the magic word is supposed to be love. Well, quite frankly, I think that love needs to be not pushing like out of the picture. To be loved is wonderful too. I believe my father loved me. There was never a question about that. It was our relationship together that gave me that sense of that he liked spending time with me. It wasn't anything that my daddy loved me. He would have given his life for me because he nearly did that a couple of times while we were still in Mississippi. He got up to go get the gun. We're talking stuff. But for this amazing man who didn't get to finish school, elementary, for him to show me what it's like to be liked, to appreciate me for being who I am, and this woman I was growing into, there's nothing that can replace that. He liked the fact that I like to read, or that in itself is over the top, but we won't get into that part of my life. But yeah, the books start talking to you, you've gone deep. But he liked the fact that I listened to him still. I did not act as if we were in the city now, not to pay any attention to your daddy. I had the one daddy. And I had this amazing daddy that I could only see the gifts in him that he gave not only to his family, but to others. And he was just likable, but he was a very strong man. He would have given his life for us in Mississippi. And it wasn't just because he had no choices. His strength and his integrity of being a person, he had to learn how to back down so as that we did not lose him to the police. Okay, when they'd come to the house and draw guns looking for the moonshine. And yes, he did have a still. Yeah, he did. And he sold it to help to provide money to go into town to buy stuff that you needed. And all of these are the things that I've always liked about my daddy, and as I would tell anybody, you can call me anything you want, but never mess with my daddy. That's the bottom line with Joyce C about that. If you want to call me some stuff, go ahead. But if you ever think you're bold enough to deal with my daddy, then we got another story coming. Because the wisdom is he learned everything the hard way, but he didn't want me to have to learn it that way. And so he always encouraged me to always do my best, to move forward, not to accept that you can't. He didn't have the words because he didn't get to go to school, but it was how he told stories. And so one of these days, I'd like to share a story or two with you. He had some amazing stories. But this one is about being good to yourself. You don't have to wait for somebody else to give you approval. And that's the thing that was made the difference for me as Joyce C. And by the way, he was the only one that called me that. My other sibling called me Joyce C. I said, that's not my name. And they look at me. Well, they were older and they thought they had rank. I said, my name is Joyce C. And so, no, Joyce. I said, no, it's not Joyce. It's Joyce C. This is an amazing thing. And so moving to Santa Barbara had my siblings, becoming Santa Barbarians right away, They, everything just started going into changing things, going away from what you would have respected had you still been in Mississippi living in that nice little house we were all living in. You would have held the respect in place for self and others. But then you become to pick up other behaviors and how you act. Individuals may not see that they were not being respectful. They were just following what they had learned when they moved to a place. But between my dad and me, we stayed the course, you see. And I have not let go. It's still with me. He's still in my life. His presence, what I feel, how I see myself, it's still there. And so I am blessed by this remarkable man named Joseph Levi Thomas Brown, that he respected me as his daughter, Joyce C. So thank you all for your time.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Joyce C. And what's incredible is I just want to offer a couple of things that you said that really highlighted it for me. One is that it is very helpful to have another being, whatever that person is in relationship to you, to
Yes.
kind of hold the space for you to really, it kind of opens up a vista for you to
Yes.
like yourself, right?
Yes.
Having that support, but it is not a requirement.
No.
It is not a requirement. And
Yeah.
one of the things that you said that was very powerful to me is to take time to know yourself.
Yes.
Take time to know yourself. And I'd like to explore that a little bit more with you, Joyce C.
Mm-hmm.
Take time to know yourself. And then the other one was that you are the one that has the power. You are the one that has the power to release the negativity, to release the burdens, to release
Mm-hmm.
the unfinished business.
Yes.
It's nobody else really has the power, but you do.
But you do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's how you do it. It's the way you conduct yourself. You don't get in and play games. It's like, we can go into a foreign place, literally. I mean, Santa Barbara, California couldn't have been more foreign to me. I mean, the house we lived in was surrounded by cotton fields.
Santa Barbara is foreign to all of us.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Well,
Someplace you visit,
Yeah.
I don't can't imagine what
Mary, you wanted to say something?
one of the things, I was drawn to attend with Tom and I today well, first of all, Joyce, because we always love it when you share your thoughts. And I particularly was looking for some inspiration, and I got it.
Ah.
Because I was looking at the new Pope, and that the new Pope was reaching out, I felt, to people saying, it's all here, we just have to bring ourselves to the energy that we have. And that's really what you were saying to me this evening with your talk, was it saying how it worked for me, Joyce, was to pay attention and be connected. But how it can work for Mary is to go inside, Mary, and trust that in there are the tools that you need to strengthen yourself to deal with what we all are going to have to deal with in some way or another. And I just was so moved by how connected what you were talking about with the Pope of the world was talking about. Joyce, you and Pope, what's his name? And I just was moved to remind us that it's in there. We wouldn't be to this stage in our development connecting with people like I see on the screen. That there's nobody on the screen you couldn't go to if you said, I'm in a really bad space, can you give me 5? There's nobody on this screen would say, no, try me next week. People would stop and be with you, would help you in those moments.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And that's the power of our community, and it's the power that we have to remember is in ourselves. I listened to you and I thought, I could never be as sophisticated as Joyce, but I could be a lot more sophisticated Mary. I just have to look in there and poke around a little bit and see, what can I bring forward to help me deal with the uniqueness that's evolving around our country. And so I just wanted to thank you for that, Joyce, to offer us your own experience in a way that we could latch onto it and expand our personal experience. And it was just very wonderful for me, and I wanted to thank you for it.
Well, I thank you. And I'm very thankful to all of you for being here. And I thank you, Mary, because I can identify with what you're saying. It all connects up. It really does. It just does. It's wonderful. Thank you, because it just all connects up. Yeah. It's all about sometimes the journey. We're not just traveling by ourselves, but sometimes we forget it because we can get into a tight spot because sometimes the people around us are busy looking for something. And I didn't have to go looking for it. I just had to go in and take Daddy his cup of coffee, and there it was. That was one of my treats. And it was just that this presence, the being in the presence of someone that I knew so much about, and what he had went through and what he had experienced, and here he was, connecting with me in a way that told me it was okay to be me. It was okay to like myself. It was an amazing experience because I heard no one else ever tell me that in my family. And that's not many of us of my particular group surviving, but there's 3 of us. I have 2 brothers and myself. But There is never any kind of this kind of conversation. It's all about trying to figure out how to make this work and make that work and do this and do that. But there was no simple conversation, being the best, getting on the top, and all of this stuff. It was
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And
we
Mary,
experience each other.
exactly.
Mhm.
And I just want to honor Mary, you and Tom, actually embody that as well. You've been that for each other. That that spark of
Mhm.
unconditional love that enables you to reach your full potential.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank you. Hmm.
Yes.
Now a little sip of yours, perhaps. Have a little sip of yours. Of course.
Anne,
Yeah.
Annie.
Uh-huh.
Um, when I listen to things like this, I think about the journey that I have had to go through because I grew up with a parent whose sentence was often, I love you, but I don't like you.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. There you go.
And so I had to learn my worth. And sometimes it did take other people around me and having to hear what they say about me and having to learn how to believe that and how to embody that. So
Mm-hmm.
that as I grew up and became more and more confident in myself, slowly but surely, the sentence changed to, I love you and I like you. And that was, a joy to have in my life before this parent passed on. And to know, I mean, long before, but it was, but it was an interesting time. And so as you speak, sometimes I think about, you know, how do you find that? And I mean, for me, it was getting into my music and doing the things that I did and just being me. I mean, I didn't understand. I had an aunt who told me that I was stupid because I wanted people to like me because I liked me. But so it it really has been a true journey for me to be and find that person that likes myself and can say it.
Well then. How wonderful.
You can say, well then, boo.
Yes, I would. I would call you Boo. There's no
That's
question
right.
about it.
That's right.
And Boo would say, uh-huh,
Uh-huh.
Joyce, see.
That's right.
We're all talking about journeys. We're all talking about journeys of things that we've experienced in some level, or we may have seen it in others. We don't always have to experience all these things. But I know I experienced it, and I saw young girls that I knew experiencing things too. And they were having a very hard time, and they used words like, I just don't feel like I belong in my family. Things like that. The reason I didn't have that is because I had Joseph Levi Thomas Brown, you see, you know, and because of his presence and his hard life, for him not to be feeling very wanted, even in with his family, his grandparents and great grandparents, and just remember that all of them were born into slavery. And so my father was born Christmas 1898, Christmas Day. I know it was a blast. He got two presents. He was always thrilled by it. And I was the daughter, for the most part, that would bring him his favorite bottle of whiskey, and we'd have a shot of that. And I'd bring him his favorite socks and shirts. He had a thing for blue. And Jack Daniels, let's just call this what it is. And we would sit in the kitchen, and I'd give him his presents, And he would say, well then, Joyce C., well then. And then I'd crack that bottle open and I was old enough then to drink. I had reached that age where nobody's going to tell me at 20, 21, I could not have that shot of bourbon or whiskey. And while all the others, they weren't even celebrating his Christmas as his birthday, they were in the living room with our mother doing whatever they were doing there. And I was in the kitchen with my dad. And you know what? I was happy. And my dad was smiling and he would look at me and I got a whole bunch of well-thens, and I knew that that was his way of letting me know it was good. You know, the only time he was long on words was when he would set us all down to tell us stories, as children, because we had storms outside or whatever was going on, or to calm us down for whatever reason we need to be calm. And he would tell these amazing stories, very Southern, based on his grasp of words, but we all understood it. And it was Daddy talking, and he was teaching us, and we would go to bed knowing that we were safe because we had a daddy that spent this time with us. We were never alone, those kinds of things. There's a lot of treasures there, which is why well then became like one of my words. And I used to say it to people many years ago, and they'd look at me and they go, what? I said, there's a history here, and you're not in the mood for that. Let's just say, well done. How about that? Oh, I said, okay. See, they could get well done, but they couldn't get well then. And my dad, well done. You told him well done, and he'd look at you and go, yeah, that's so well done. Because he was still very Southern in many ways. He didn't lose that. He didn't drop that by moving to Santa Barbara and becoming other than who he was raised as in his language and the way he thought and his compassion and the way he treated people. Everybody on the street we lived in, they just couldn't wait to say, where's your daddy? And the fact I had to tell them that he was no longer with us, I saw so many sad people because they couldn't believe that oh my word, that he had transitioned. The whole street, both sides, they just couldn't wait to see him coming because they also got to be themselves with him. And he got to be himself with them as well. This going like this and this. So it was always wonderful for me. That's why I like being with this group, because we just be us. We say, we talk, we feel, we share. We're not trying to pull out that doggone encyclopedia or something.
Exactly.
Because I may have to tell you what to do with the encyclopedia.
Well, while you're doing that, Joyce C., Patty Baker has her hand raised.
Oh, sorry about that, Patty.
Oh, no, nothing to be sorry about. I just wanted to bring up the point that, I sometimes find that that level of liking oneself is more difficult than loving oneself. I mean, I think that there's this deep layer that maybe we don't look at enough, and I think it's an important aspect to consider when we're looking at ourselves or even looking at other people, I mean, because love is I think it's just such an incredible feeling that we can have. It just comes to us. But what's underneath that? What is underneath that? Do you like yourself? Are there things about you that you like? And what would that be? And I think it's a really important concept to think about, and that's all I want to say. I just think it's an important concept, liking yourself and taking the time to look at that and look at our strengths, look who we are as a person, and what our contributions are, or whatever that means to someone. I just wanted to throw that in. Thank you.
And I want to thank you, Patty, because what you're talking about, I'm seeing a lot of us nod our heads when you said sometimes liking ourselves is not as easy as loving ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, finding those moments of what do I really like about me individually as a person? You know, what do I really honor about who I am as an individual?
Mm-hmm.
Not how much I can do for another person or how much I can do in the world, but what is it about me that I really like that's me just being me?
That's a good point. And so it's a very good point because, like I said, I discovered that I liked me because I had a daddy who helped me to see that I was likable, that I wasn't to be living in fear and doubt and worry and stress and tension from my mother or my siblings and that kind of stuff, that I was likable. He was my protector, but he just let me know. He said, then he would say to me in no uncertain words that as long as he was there, I was fine. He would let me know that I didn't have to be concerned about anything. As long as he was there, all would be well. And then he would say, well then, Joyce, see, well then. And that's why I've always liked those phrases, you just, you have to be careful how you use them with people. They go, what? Huh? It's kind of like you don't know English. And I'll say, well, yeah, I know English, but you don't know the English I know, but I know yours. And so this is when people need to ask you, can you give me some idea of where that comes from? Where are you from with that? I would tell them. And I would say it's something I grew up with that had deep meaning, that someone liked you. This is not about putting the love on everything. This is about this liking was as deep as any love I've ever experienced. You see, because love was not what I was getting from my mother, and I can tell you that straight up. And I wasn't getting it from my my siblings either. But what I was getting from my father, love was there. There was never a question about this. But that I like you was something beyond that for me. He accepted me totally for me, not because he was supposed to love me because he was my dad and I was his daughter, but he accepted me totally for being Joyce C. And that was wonderful for me. That was absolutely fabulous. And I'm trying to remember who taught me that word. Somebody did. That was absolutely fabulous for me. And I want to say this. What I like about me, I am pleased with, and I am. And because I am pleased with this, I am not looking or searching for the approval of others. You see, this is the thing about liking yourself. You don't go looking for somebody to tell you you're wonderful. Seriously, we're looking at our own journey, and that is what makes the difference. That when you are spending time with yourself, it is important to realize how wonderful that you are with you. I like me. This is not something to take lightly. When you look at the world around us, what's going on like that, it's an amazing thing. And it's definitely, again, not looking for approval. I met a lot of people who are always looking for somebody to like them, that particular like them. And I said, well, what are you going to do? How are you going to get that? Well, you just have to, do what they want and be there when they ask you to and do the. I said, so you can be liked by them? I said, you serious? And they said, yes. Don't you want? I said, no. I said, I like me. Oh, that wasn't like, oh. I said, okay. So, welcome to Santa Barbara, California.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. And our Corky has her hand raised.
Oh, sorry, Corky.
I enjoyed listening to you. When I was a kid, I was really shy, and I assumed that people didn't like me. And then, and so and then when I'd be invited to do things with people, I didn't think they really meant it. I would show up because that was polite, but I never thought that they really wanted me there. So it was kind of, and a couple of things happened to change that. And one of them was when I went to Girl Scouts. I went to the roundup where all the Girl Scouts from all over the world go. So I was chosen to do that, and from Bakersfield, and they are that Kern County council, and it was after it was over. So that was like 2 weeks or 4 week. Was it 1 week? Yeah, because there was a weekend in between, where we took the train up to Idaho to
Yeah.
there and have this huge round. Well, I called it roundup. Anyway, it was awesome. And having been, you would think that having been chosen to do that out of everybody in the Kern County Council of Girl Scouts, and only 7 of us went, you'd think that that would give me some sense of, you were chosen to do this, but I never felt that way. It's just my default was that nobody liked me, and so.
Mm.
Years later, I happened to overhear one of the people who was on the committee that chose the people to go, and they said that I got to go. I heard them say that I went because I was the most friendly, and I could bring people in, and I thought, oh yeah, yeah. I never considered that to be a skill until pretty recently.
Mm.
Then another one was when a girlfriend of mine, when I was in college at Fresno, and we lived with her mother, with her family, and her mother said, "You're the most conceited person, selfish person I've ever met." It's like, uh, really? And she goes, "Yeah, yeah. You just assume that everybody's thinking about you. I mean, why would nobody like you? Why would you don't? People are probably not even thinking about you." It's like, and actually that was kind of refreshing. It's like, oh, I don't have to worry about what people think. And, whether I assume that they don't like, just automatically default don't like me, that doesn't really matter. It's like, well, and because it seems like, because being selfish was like, wow, that's something you're never supposed to be. That is like, I don't know what's worse. Lying and cheating probably is worse. But anyway, um, uh, and that was really kind of shocked me out of my thinking of that, because I never thought that I thought about that. I thought everybody liked me. I mean, that everybody would have to think about me to make the decision that they didn't like me. It's like, wow, that's, if you think of it like that, it's like, that was actually very freeing to realize that I can do whatever I want. It doesn't really matter, because people don't really pay that much attention to people. So it made me be able to consider that there was another way to think about yourself in the world. So it's I think everybody kind of goes through it, somehow, as they grow up. Being an only child, you'd think that I would be, of course I'm going to be selfish. I'm the only one there. Anyway, so thank you very much. Talk to you later. Let's see, how do I
Thank
get?
you.
Lolly
Yeah.
thank you
Yeah.
so much
I
for
was
that.
one of 10.
Yeah,
Proud.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, Lolly, you have your hand raised.
Hi, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Lolly.
Nice to see you all. Hey, Joyce.
Hey.
Thank you for, yeah, I love when you talk about this. It's good. And I appreciate everybody the folks that have shared about how they felt growing up too, because when my mom was always really supportive of me. And my parents divorced when I was young, but I saw my dad and my mom, and my mom was really strong and just really was really supportive. And so I grew up kind of, well, let's see. I grew up knowing that I was loved by her and my dad, but I was definitely an insecure kid. And I remember in junior high not feeling very comfortable and definitely not feeling like I fit in because I was a little Jewish girl and went to school with all the surfers. And was not blonde
Ah,
and blue eyed, and I definitely didn't fit into the surf world.
mm,
And then my mom died when I was 15, and then I moved in with my dad and my very pretentious, crazy stepmother. And so I really didn't feel like I fit in at all. I did have a brother my age and a brother who was older, and they loved me, and I fit in with them. But I really remember growing up in Los Angeles, never feeling like I really fit in.
mm,
Not in grade school, not in junior high, not in high school.
mhm,
And I think it's taken me until just I think in my 30s I started to like myself a little more. And in my
mm,
40s, each 40s was better, and in my 50s was better. And now that I'm in my 60s, I really am starting to really like myself much more and just
mhm.
accept myself. And
Yep.
Beautiful.
yeah, and do a lot of inner thinking, soul searching, like Joyce is talking about, and just learning to like just really just like me and love me. And
Mm-hmm.
it is an inner journey, isn't it? It's
Mm-hmm.
not about the outer world and what everybody thinks.
No.
It is such an inner journey. So
Mm-hmm.
anyway,
Yeah.
I'm grateful to be here tonight and to hear everyone shares. And it's also wonderful to know that you're not alone in growing up, not
Yeah.
feeling like you fit in. We all had a place there. And so anyway,
Yes. Excellent.
Wonderful.
Thank you. It is
you're
good
Thank
to
you.
know.
thank you.
And Patty, you are next.
I thought of something else to mention, and that is, as I'm listening to this process, I listened, I had to look at my journey as well. And I think that for those of us who didn't have a strong foundation in their life of someone somehow instilling in you to like you, then we probably spend a lot of time trying to get validation from other people around us outside of us. I
Ah.
know that's really been true
Mm-hmm.
for me, and so the more that I move along on the journey, it's like I'm learning, and because Joyce speaks so much about liking oneself, I hear it a lot, and and it's good. It's a good thing, and I have to look at that, and I there, and it's like, wow, this is a really interesting concept. And so sometimes I'll sit and I'll ponder, well, what do you like about yourself? And I don't think it's part of our culture. I don't think it's part of our training, to
Ah.
look inward on that level. Love
Mm-hmm.
is a big one, and I totally support that. But there's that like element. And so if we don't have that foundation, maybe that's where a lot of us look for the validation outside of ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's really such a false front, because that can shift in a moment. One
Ah.
moment somebody is your champion, they love you to death, and the next moment, you're their enemy. You don't know, because that's the way humans can be sometimes. It just is. And so you're still left with you. You're still left with you and your connection within yourself and your divine self and whatever that means for someone. So I just think that it's a tricky road to maneuver. And so I'm just reflecting. I don't really know where I'm going with what I'm trying to say to you, but I think it's an important concept.
Yes.
And we, as I say, we may not have been raised with something where we had that kind of support.
Yeah. Absolutely. And
Yeah, yeah.
100%. Annie, you have your hand up. These are such amazing insights.
Well,
Oh.
it's interesting because, I mean, this is very short. Best gift that I ever got from our wonderful, I believe that Dottie gave it to me, is the book that says, "What you think of me is none of my business." And that is my affirmation in life. I don't care what you think of me. I know what I think of me.
That's right.
And that was the growth. That was the change. That was one of the things that always brings me back to because as Patty said, not necessarily having, I had lots of support because I had to look outside myself. But when I learned how to say, but what you think of me is none of my business, and really understanding that at the core of that statement made a huge difference in my life.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
And what that means is that it's not anybody else's responsibility, to give me that sense of liking myself or my self-esteem. It's not reliant, as Patty said. Humans can be fickle. Humans can be,
Yeah.
not always dependable.
No.
Except for Mr. Brown.
Yeah. Well,
He's solid.
there you go.
He's
There's
on
an
my
exception here.
he's on my ship too. I have Mr. Brown.
Well, he would have had a lot of fun with all of y'all. I can tell you that right now. You would have
But
enjoyed him.
yes, and we enjoy him through you, Joyce C,
Mhm.
because you keep him alive.
Yes.
And so we not only get you, but we get him as well.
Yeah.
And what a gift that is.
Mhm.
But it is really an inside job, and it teaches me that I am responsible for that. So I
Mhm.
can't lay it on another person. I can't say, hey, you're responsible for making me happy. It's really about what am I doing for myself? And it's like Ms. Janet Jackson. I love her song, What Have You Done For Me Lately? Well, I'm singing that song to myself. What have you done for me lately?
Okay. I'm going to have to put that song on then. Look her up. I want you to know that it's very refreshing to be here and to share with those of you that are here. It's very refreshing. Patty gets to deal with me all the time. She's pretty tough about it, I can tell you right now. But it's really a good feeling to share something that isn't, huh? What? It's none of that. It's like, yes, yeah. There is a deep wisdom and understanding here. And this is the kinds of, I don't know, wisdom and teachings that we don't get in the regular society. We need to just call it what it is. Somebody can write a bestseller, but they can tell you how not to hate your neighbor, and the thing will sell 1,000,000 copies, But at the same time, nobody's talking about, well, why don't you get to know your neighbor before you decide that you hate them? Why not just simply go over and talk and say something, something, something? Maybe have a chat, And so we have learned how to separate ourselves out from others. And in the process, if we're not careful, we will separate ourselves out from us. I really do like me. And it's not something I can share with anyone other than those of you in this group. There are a few other people I know. I could tell them I like me, and they say, yeah, you like you. I like you too. And they say, I'm starting to like me. I have someone else, a couple of people would probably tell me that. But for the most part, you don't talk this stuff. If people are to be doing, which I don't know what it is, but that's kind of like the journey that they have chosen, and they're waiting for whatever they're waiting for. And that's their choice.
Yeah.
I've had this journey ever since birthing, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Well, and anyway, from the age 10 on. So up to now,
Absolutely.
it's been going, this liking me has been with me, and the way I feel, and knowing that I'm okay to be me. See, that's the key for me. I'm Joyce C. There's no question about it. And it's okay for me to be Joyce C. I do not have to be someone else's stereotypical idea of what I should be as a person, as a woman, as anything, or just living. It's my decision. And in that decision, the key is I like me. I really do.
I love it.
I
Mary, you had something.
Oh, sorry, Mary.
Mary, can you unmute?
Unmute.
Unmute, please.
Unmute.
There you are.
Oh, there you go.
Beautiful.
I just wanted to say from our hearts, Tom's and mine, this has been one of the more powerful, inclusive, connected to what's going on around all of us meetings that I have been in, I don't know when. Holly, Lolly, I don't know you, but I feel a closeness to you by the openness of your heart and the things that you shared with us, and the other people I do know, and like Corky has always been. Corky and I worked together by ourselves in headquarters for a long time, and if we couldn't laugh and hug and eat those little cookies, why, it would have been very hard. But it's never hard with Corky. She just works from her heart. And everybody that I saw tonight, I thought, I don't have to worry quite so much about the world. You know how you get sometimes when you see things and you go, oh my God, he did what? He's where? Getting what kind of a plane for free? Oh my God. And then I say, no, Mary, stop it. Look at who you're really surrounded by. You're surrounded by people who have an understanding, who want to believe that the ultimate outcome will be for the highest good. That's what our families, as Joyce articulated so well, it's what all of that is part of. And Annie, and yeah, I mean, I just was so moved by our little group for this little period of time that said, do your work, do what you have to do. Don't think you have to do what the world has to do. Just do your work, hold the light. Things are going to turn around, and we'll be okay. Amen.
Those butterfingers.
Yes.
Yep. Yum.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Wonderful. Good feelings.
Absolutely, Mary.
Good feelings. This is such a, it's like some other
I know where I
century.
went.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
There is this inner peace and comfort.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you, Annie.
Yes.
Okay.
And I just have to say, it's so wonderful to
Full
see
to 10
Tom.
time? I don't know how this all works.
Thank
Ma-
you, Mary.
Mary,
Kind words.
Annie is saying some things to Tom. Would like to
Just-
say some.
Just saying how wonderful it is to see you, Tom,
Yay.
and how much I've missed you. And Mary, I miss you too, and just very glad to see you both.
Yes.
Making me feel a little verklempt.
Yes.
Because like you, I'm feeling the love in the room, feeling the love.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes. And our beautiful Tom is.
They're wonderful. I love those those hearts.
Yeah. And Tom, there you go. Beautiful.
There we go, Lolly, huh?
That's gorgeous. And just know, Tom, that you are always in our circle.
Yes.
You and Mary are always in our circle. You are always there. You're our wisdom keepers.
Well, that's a great blessing, and we draw incredible support from all that your love brings to us. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
It goes far beyond chop wood and carry water.
Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
Mary and Tom, do you need to go, honey? Are you getting tired?
Huh?
Are you getting tired? Do you need to go?
I'm sorry. I guess I thought we were moving to a closing time.
Oh no, we don't close until 8 p.m. But you can leave whenever you wish. You can leave. We're open till 8.
Yes, no, I don't know that we'll make it until 8.
That's okay.
But
You
we
just-
sure loved everybody that was here and
Absolutely.
all of the energy that everybody put together. I just, I had one of the dangers of being a little isolated, which is what both Tom and I have been. We both had health problems. I had major surgery and he's had ongoing problems. And for us to have done our little opening window into this group and have this group be so heart-centered and so insightful. Everybody understands kind of what's going on, and it's not what any of us would wish was going on. Whether he gets a car or a plane, or whether he keeps making these dramatic statements that are a little hard to interpret, we can just let go of that and just say, no, retreat to your own community.
Mhm.
Know that there are people who want the best outcome for everyone. There's nobody here who says, I'm here because I want to get everything. You give me all the juice. I want the juice. No, everyone here is extending their heart, their good wishes, their experiences that are valuable to share. It was very powerful
For the
us.
highest good for each other.
Yes.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So we thank you for that, and we are going to slip away, Janet. You do know us well, and hopefully by the next time, maybe we can stay even longer. But this is the first time that Tom and I have reached into our spiritual community so openly and been so inspired, of course, by Joyce. I knew there was no risk in coming to this class because I've been to enough of Joyce's sharings to know that yay, and her daddy was going to be there too. I just knew it.
Well, yeah,
So
yes.
it was wonderful for us, and we will slip away now. And we send you all of our love and blessings.
Love you guys.
Nice to
Thank
see
you.
you.
We
Bye-bye.
love you,
Very
Tom and
good.
Mary.
Thank you.
Bye bye, darling.
Love, love, love.
Love, love, love. Thank you. Excellent. It's always wonderful to see you. Mhm.
Wow. Well, I just invite us to take a nice deep breath and just
Mhm.
breathe in all of this wisdom.
Mhm.
Breathe it in, take it into the center of your heart, the center of your body. I mean, take in this love and support. Because I'm going to
Mhm.
hand it right back to Joyce C. But I believe that's what Joyce C. is bringing to us today, is that opening and that acknowledgement, as you so beautifully said, Ms. Lawley, when you were talking, about, just the power of being heard and being validated. That is so huge. And that is something that we can always do for and with each other. We can always do that.
Mhm.
And there are ways. So Joyce C., you take it. I have a couple of ideas about maybe hearing what people might like about themselves, if they can find one or two things that they like
Yes.
about themselves.
Well, there you go. Let me see. The idea, anyway, is to give something, is currently to think what you like about you. No, it says right here, I wrote down some notes the other night. Be honest with your truth. This is for you. See, this is not about because somebody else told you they liked it. Did you like it? I'm serious. It's really important. Okay. And sometimes we may not like some of the other truths that may show up, but that's okay. We don't have to keep them. We can say, I release you. I set you free. I let you go. And I am going to keep what I like about me. We have this choice. We do not have to hold on to things because someone else thought of it or thought we would look good with it or that kind of stuff. We don't have to deal with that. It is like knowing that this is a relationship that you have with you as a soul, mind, and body. It's not just with one part, it's all of you. And so what is shared is with those you trust. And who are you trusting? Your soul, mind, and your body. And you're letting them know, I like you. And this then becomes an incredible teaching and a wonderful experience. So again, be truthful in your insights. Don't just say it because you should. I learned that one. I don't say things because I should. I don't say to myself, well, I like you, Joyce C. Brown. I do like me, or I wouldn't tell me. I would say, well, I like this about you, but I'm not going to say I like everything about you because I'm still working on it. You see, there's still things to be working on, okay? Trust is central in revealing the special aspects that you like about yourself. Do you trusting yourself to say, I like this about me that you're there for friends in need. I like this about you that you take time for yourself. I like this about you that you can say no to something that you know isn't for you. Others may think it's for them, but you know it isn't for you. And I've been through that when people thought that, certain things I should want to be out doing this. And I said, no, I can be supportive by signing the petition and making a small donation. We're talking budgets here, but it doesn't mean that I am going to go do something, and that's important also to like about yourself, that you can set some sense of boundaries that are healthy. I'm not talking about, being rude and stuff, just healthy boundaries. And then this is when we are then being truthful in your personal insights, not what somebody else thinks. It is about what you're thinking. And if you're not liking what your own self is saying to you, you have a chat with them. You sit down with yourself and say, well, let's have a talk. Let's take a look at what it is you're presenting to me. And you'll be amazed that may have been lingering around, waiting for an opportunity to try to rise to the surface to get you to do something that would be against your principles as to how you would see a situation or a person or an event or any of those kinds of things. There are times when not sharing is the right action to take. Do not push yourself and then regret your action. So if you don't know what to say to someone, just simply say, I just need time to think this over. You're speaking the truth. Because then if you say something that someone else is devastated by, now you got to figure out, okay, now I got to go and, but if you can say, this is something that I need to wait on and give some thought to. Let's talk about this in a couple of days or so. And in that time, you get time to sit down with it and say, what is it about that is not for me? But what can I do to support someone else that it is for? We began to look at things from that perspective. And this is about liking yourself. This is not about whether somebody else likes you or not. You see, we can get, if we don't want to get caught in that, to be liked, because that can be, oh my goodness, it can have you sticking your finger into things that really does hurt. But when we can take time to say, I need to give thought to something, and when we say that, that is true. And what that, whoa, hello, there we go then. And so remember, this is your life and your relationship you have with you. What is shared of your relationship is a personal decision, never trying to fit in. We have to really pay attention to this, not trying to fit in. It doesn't matter what the club is or the group is. If you're not fitting in, don't try to force it. But if you can support from someplace else, then do it that way. And all of this ties into liking yourself, and well, okay, what I like about me, I am pleased with. These are the things to talk to yourself. I like me. What I like about me, I'm pleased with. I like sharing. Tell yourself. Do you like creating stories? Okay. Or simply remembering things that you think someone else would find fun or interesting. This is all good stuff. And this ties into me with my dad and all the stories that he would tell. And if I thought I could get away with singing Chuck-a-luck, honey auntie, see, I did it. Bobtail rabbit in a hollow tree. Mealy, mealy, way over yonder on that hill. Mealy. By the way, that was a song that was sang when Black people were running for freedom from slavery. And a man would walk through the community where everybody was living in these shacks, and he would tell them where to go, way over yonder on that hill. You right? And then my daddy converted it and put a rabbit in the hollow tree singing also at one point. I guess he wanted to change the entertainment a little bit. So Chuck-a-luck became a bobtail rabbit in a hollow tree. Mealy, mealy. Yeah. Way over yonder on that hill. So he changed it, but that was my dad. But he was teaching me and the other children through things. There are some things that you're not to do. And it won't matter if you're trying to run way over yonder on that hill, you're not going to make it. You see, you're going to do something that's going to get you into deep trouble. And back in those days, it could have cost you your life. You know, and earlier days and later days, it could have still cost you your life if you were messing with the police and things like that. So all these songs had meaning. And it was all based on how you felt about you. And if you don't like something about someone, it's okay. I'm serious. I haven't met a perfect person. I have met incredible people. I've met wonderful people. I've met all kinds of people. And I would hold my dad up there with the most wonderful person I've ever met. But I could say to you, I did not see in my father what I would think would be perfection. Because when he got up one night to go get his gun, when the police were trying to come through the front door, I don't think my dad was showing me some perfection there. And our mother talked him out of it. And so he had to sit down and pretend like he wasn't the man so they wouldn't kill him. Okay? So we have to figure out how to do something. We don't have to do it all. We don't have to do it all, but we do have to figure out how to do things in a way that benefits not only us, but others, or could be supportive of someone else, or could give a person something to think about that they may want to come back to you and say, can we talk a little bit more? I'm really curious about what you had to say. That's okay, because you're giving them something to think about and they're curious. I just know that not everything is to be shared. I was to repeat it again, so I did. This is why we keep private journals. See, sometimes you can't always tell somebody something. One of the things that I do, I will write things down. And then if I don't decide what to do with it, I have a fireplace. I can say, let me burn this and set it free. You know, so we don't always have to go and do things, but we can write it down to get it out of circulating through us. Because sometimes if we do not release some things, it gets big and it builds up and it creates more disturbances than we need inside of us. So we can write it down and then you can shred it. I like burning myself. I throw some sage in there and stuff and burn it and purify, you know. But the thing that I just want to share again is my dad taught me how to like myself. And not only did I not feel his love for me, but I felt that my dad liked me. You know, that was huge for Joyce C. Brown, to know that my daddy liked me, that he wasn't just doing what he was doing because he loved me. And my father, as far as I know, loved all of his children. He had 2 sets of children, by the first woman he's with and by King. Okay. And the fact is that he was devoted to us. Absolutely devoted. And And it was because of him, by the way, that I kept going to school. He wanted me to because he didn't get to go to school. At 10 years old, they had him out working like a little man, you know, standing up on the road with big, huge piles of stones to toss at the mountain lions might run through coming in to kill wild, your stock or your pigs or chickens or whatever it was. And he used to tell about those kinds of experiences he had also. So when he wanted to go learn to read, he was out throwing stones at mountain lions or working in the field or doing this and doing this. So by the time he was his age in Santa Barbara, by the time he was still not happy that he could not read. But he used to privately practice writing his name, Joe. That's the only 3 words he would practice writing. And I knew it. I may even have the Bible that he was writing in. I'll have to look and see. But the thing about this is this. My father knew I knew. It was not like it was a secret. But it did not change how I felt about my father, this remarkable man who loved us all, that he would have been willing to give his life for us or to help others in need. He was always there. There was no question. And that he was open to getting to know everybody of every race. So he wasn't just somebody's I only socialize with Black folks. No, everybody. They were willing to chat. Daddy was in it. People loved seeing him coming to the supermarket. Oh, there's the man. They couldn't wait. The people doing the cashier and all that stuff, they couldn't wait to get the man because he still had all of his accent. He was as Southern as he was going to be ever. And they said, and this is your baby? And he said, yeah, that's right. And I was so proud. He owned me up. I just loved it. And I just wanted to share that the journey really narrows down to liking ourselves. Love is central and key. I understand it. But I tell you, you can love yourself all you like, but if you do not like you, it still makes it very difficult to see yourself the way you would like to. Because sometimes I think the thing about loving yourself can be overrated for me. I had to like me. I had no question with the fact that I didn't feel love from my mother or my siblings, but I felt it from my dad. But the key is that he liked me. That was the key. And I used to say, show enough, Daddy. And he said, yeah, Joyce, see, show enough. And that was it for me. The world could have ended right then. I'd have been good. And I just wanted to share all that little chat with you that do not forget that the journey, it is personal. We can share with others, but they always have to, each one of us have to make our own decisions. But when we can share with someone where there's no pressure on it, because some people don't like themselves and they will tell you, and they will tell you why. And if you know that person and you can chat with them and you say, well, let's just look at one thing at a time. And I've done that with working with individuals with counseling and some early days of therapy and all that kind of stuff. I work with that. And I would say, let's just start one thing at a time. They said, oh, I said, you come in here with a whole list. I said, just one thing at a time. What don't you like about you today? Oh, I don't know how to. And someone would tell you, say no to someone because you're afraid if you don't tell them yes, they're going to tell your family or they're going to tell somebody else you know. And then the word's going to serve. You see the pressure. It's amazing that someone can place on someone else because you don't give them the answer they want. And so I learned to work with individuals to say to someone, if they're asking you to do something that's beyond your ethics and your principles, you have the right to tell them, no, that this is not something that I feel would be correct for me to do. And if they can't handle that, then they need to go ask somebody else to do it, that they feel would be there, they would do it. But if you're saying it goes against what I believe about a group, a person, place, the dolphins, whatever it is, I don't believe in doing what they're doing to them. And you have friends who says, oh, well, yeah, because they interfere with the fishing and with the this and with us making money. There's always someone finding a reason to do something that you may not agree with. And that's the whole point with liking oneself for me. That's just, to me, fits in with liking oneself. I don't have to agree with the world policies. I just have to be concerned about Joyce C. I'm telling you right now, she's got it going on. But what I do believe in is doing the best you can do for yourself and do the best that you can for others that you're connected to be there for them the best you can. I do believe in that. But I do not believe that I should agree to anything and everything someone says to me, and sign this and do this, that I will say no to. I said, that is not where I am. And it's okay to say honestly, no. Because then again, that is also liking yourself. You see, it depends on how you define it. But when you can say no to something you find is devastating, hurtful, going to create who knows what kind of difficult times for others, it's okay to be able to say no. It's okay to be able to say no. So I just wanted to share a few more little notes that I had going. I hit here we go. I like me, Joyce C. Brown. I trust me, Joyce C. Brown. I believe in me, Joyce C. Brown. I am learning more each day or moments, Joyce C. Brown. What it comes down to is, I like me. There, I done chatty Cathed my way through. Yeah.
That
Yes.
is wonderful. I think that could be a chant, actually.
Oh,
I like me, Joyce C. Brown. What were the other words?
I trust
I
me,
trust me,
me,
Joyce
Joyce
C.
C. Brown.
Brown.
I believe in
I
me.
believe in me, Joyce C. Brown.
I am learning more each day.
Joyce C.
C.
Brown.
Brown. There it is.
There it is. So, I really think that can be a meditation chant.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because as I felt it, when you were singing it, I felt it in my body. And it's like it registered on different levels each time you said a different word. I like me, I trust me, I believe in me.
Everybody can use the name and insert your name here.
Yeah.
Although I think she probably feels the same way. We like you.
Okay, so this is your journey then. So when you start doing all these kinds of things and talking about yourself and realizing how much you care for you, it really is a personal journey. It really is. And how you want to share it is also personal. But you can share it with those that you feel that you can share with. But you don't just share to share. I've discovered that doesn't work very well. But it can work when you're talking to someone that you know that you can sit and share with and trust and be with. And just be able to share something and knowing that they can receive it, whether they may or may not believe they feel that way about them with a list or one or more. It is okay. You know them enough to know to talk. And sometimes those are the individuals that'll call you or these days text you or email you and say, what about? And then this is when you say, what about it? What do you got to say? And they'll tell you. You say, I hadn't thought of it that way. Tell me more. Be amazed what someone can tell you when they've had a few days or a week or less or more to talk something, to think something over that made them go beyond that place where they were stuck. I don't like me. I asked somebody else, they asked me, I said, what do you mean you don't like you? I said, explain it to me. And they said, well, it's not that, but I say things. I said, okay, what do you say? Well, this was a person who thought they should speak what they thought was the truth. I said, but that's what you think the truth is. And you're saying this to others in a group or a place, but no one else is saying these things, but you are. I said, so let me ask you this. Are you seeking attention? They didn't know if they should be angry with me or not at that point. I said, if you want to be angry with me, that's fine. I said, I can take it, actually. I said, my name is Joyce C. Brown. There you go. Let's deal with it. And they said, well, no, 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 no. I said, you wanted to draw attention to yourself. Oh, and you wanted to have the attention. I said, but you got attention, but not the kind you thought you were going to get. No one was telling you, oh, wow, that's great. What made you think of it? They were saying, why are you here? What are you saying this for? I said, they did the opposite. I said, and so that person realized that my suggestion for them to journal, no, they didn't want to do a therapy or any of that kind of stuff. I said, get a journal or go buy a couple of 100 sheets of paper, get some pencils and pens, and start writing down some of the thoughts you have about persons, you, your life, anything. Just write it down. And then after a week or two of doing that, go back and read it. I don't know if they did it because I never heard from that person again. But it's okay. I don't have to. Whether or not they did it, it's up to them. But the idea is I have learned from myself that when I write things down, it takes it out of me. It's not just running around in there. And if I want to go back and read that journal, I can. If I don't have to. And if I go back and read it, it's still not running around in me. It's out. And it for me, it works. It works. It works really well. And it's very liberating. And it brings me all the way back to liking myself. You see. And this is something I learned a long time ago, and I'm not about to let it go. Liking me is the key. That's my key, liking myself. So I'm going to stop chatting and just sit here. That's what I'm going to do. I can actually do that. See, I haven't stopped chatting yet, but I can actually stop chatting, okay? I heard that.
I love it. I love it, Reverend Joyce C. Because one of the things that you brought up, which I thought was, powerful for me, is that I need to take responsibility for discovering what I like about me. I can't lay it on somebody else expecting them to tell me, oh, Janet, I like this about you, which then helps me to say, oh, I do like that about myself. I actually have to do some independent investigation.
That makes sense.
Regardless of whether, because then I get hooked into the good feedback, and I also get hooked into the not so good, sometimes the negative feedback. And so if I'm just honoring wherever another person's at with me, then it teaches me that I've got to do that for me. I've got to be Mr. Brown to me, Janet Childs.
You're right. That makes sense. It makes sense. That's why people go out and buy how many self-help books that somebody has managed to toss in the title, something that may be in that person's life, and they'll buy the book and say, well, I said, but it was their story,
Right.
So what if you may not need a whole book, but if you do, buy a little book. You can go to the dollar store or someplace. I go there. Get yourself a little notebook and call it a title. You can use whatever your title is. Mine would at this point would be I Like Me, right? And I would fill that little book with what I like about me, not what I
Love that.
don't like about me. That's not the title of my book. It is I Like Me. Write in it what I like about me. That's the hard thing because somebody says, well, I don't know much about me that I like. And I've had these things said, and I said, well, what do you like about you? I said, let me ask you this. I said, if a friend was to call you up and said, I'm in a fix, my car's not working, I need some help, can you come take me to the market? Would you go because you have the time to do it? Yes. I said, do you like that about you, that you can help a friend in need? Oh, I said, you don't think about that as something to like yourself about doing. You just think, oh, that's what you do with a friend. I said, well, you could have told the friend, no, my car is not working. They would have hung up and called somebody else. Would you have felt bad because your car's not working? You can go. Well, yeah, but why would you have felt bad? Because I couldn't be there for a friend. It's an amazing thing. See, we carry around a lot of guilt we don't need to carry. And that's why sometimes we have to, if we're going to write it all down, then you need to go back through your journal and take a look at, I need to let go of this. This is something that happened 10 years ago. I haven't seen that person in 9 of them, and I don't even know where they live in. They're out of the state, and I am still upset. And what are you upset about? Because they threw a party and didn't invite me. I've heard some interesting stories from people. And I said, still? Yes. And you don't even know where they are. No. But you're still, well, because of who would be at the party, see? They wanted to be at the party because this person knew all the important people. These are the kinds of things that individuals will carry around with them for years, if not the rest of this life. And we're having to take a look at, it's okay to heal. And it really does start with liking oneself. I really do believe it does. It's just a matter of taking the time to do it and not to feel somehow you're doing something that somebody else should be doing. But it's your life. It's really hard for people to understand. This is my life, like Joyce C. Brown. Now, why would I expect for y'all on this line to fix it? You can be my friend, you can talk to me, you can be my partner in all of this. But that doesn't mean that it's your responsibility to fix it or make it better. But it means you can be there for me to the best of your ability. But it's still up to me to stop carrying around this stuff that I've been pushing down inside of me. And sometimes it just isn't easy for us because we don't know what to do. We don't know what to do. But anyway, I can't stop talking. You don't believe it, but I bet you I can do it though.
Well,
See?
you're saying some amazing things, so I mean,
Uh-huh.
I'm just soaking it in like a sponge. And I think your idea, and I'm just going to repeat it, of getting the little journal book, and like you said, I get many of them sometimes from my friends at the Dollar Tree,
Got that
wherever. It
right.
doesn't have to be expensive. And
Mm-mm.
then you could even decorate the front of it. Make a little collage on the front of it,
Mm-hmm.
and just put "I like me" or whatever you want to title
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yes.
And then when I'm not liking me, I'm having a rough time, I can pull out that journal and say, "Oh, I remember.
Mm-hmm.
This is something I liked.
This
And
is
I would add to that, if there are things that other people say to me that resonate for me, like they say, Janet, I might like something, you said or did, I'm going to put it in my book
mm-hmm.
and see how it fits. Does that reflect what I like about me? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but it might give me some more soil to
Yes,
plant those seeds of liking myself.
it does make a difference. It really does make a difference. And sometimes some of the, sometimes people write these best-selling books, right? And, and these things are about their lives of trauma. And people are buying them and putting them on the bestsellers list to read about somebody else's trauma. Now, you cannot tell me that the people buying these are not having trauma, or they're going to be just wanting to see that this movie star or the big rich person or this or that or the supermodel had trauma. What could she possibly have trauma? She's a supermodel. Well, maybe she doesn't like being that thin. People don't stop and think about stuff like that. What? Maybe she doesn't like being that trim. To be that trim, she gets to be a supermodel. But if she eats something, then she worries about losing her job. Maybe she's got something going on about that. Never occurs to people. They think that they've got it made. Well, they have something going on inside of them that is causing them not to feel like they have it made. And I had read something one time about someone who actually was feeling that way. They felt that they were afraid that they were going to lose something because they weighed a few more pounds. And I said, well, what can you do about it? What? I said, well, you gained them. What can you do to let them go? Oh, I said, but you're worried because of what people will think about you and what you look like. And this is a woman who's talking to me, and I'm a big busty woman. And I said, so what's your question here? What are you thinking about? And she didn't know what to do at this point. She's trying to look. I said, I don't know how to tell you this, but I'm not up there. I said, I am a large woman. I said, and you're a small one. And you want to be smaller again than these few pounds you put on. I said, so what do you need to do to not have them? As opposed to worrying and still eating the stuff that put them on in the first place. Oh, because she didn't want to talk to any of her other friends about it because they were all very trim. So she was with a part of a group, you see. And so all of this is the kinds of things that people go out and buy books for $39, $49, $59 for, and they still keep doing what they're doing, even though they buy the book. They're supposed to be teaching you how not to do it. The journey to not to do it is the one that's inside of you. Take a look at what prompted it. If I would say to somebody, write down what prompted you to do that. Now then, take a look at it and go and just read it. Oh, what was going on in your life? Was there trauma, loss, feeling angry, betrayed, lost a family friend, your pet animal, something? What was it? Oh, it's amazing the things that trigger people to do things that's out of their pattern that keeps them in a certain, feeling a certain way. But that's common. You see, it really is. There are industries that profit from it. So when people can look at themselves and say, I got caught up in something because I was just feeling lonely. I said, oh, well, what did you do? It's amazing. They said, well, I went to the store and stacked up on snack food. I said, okay. I said, did you eat it? Yes. Now what do you feel? They feel I feel bad. I said, okay. Are you still eating the snack food? Yeah. So you're still feeling bad? Uh-huh. I said, okay. What's your choice? Oh. So when you find out what they're feeling bad about, it's usually, for me, it had to do with not being invited to something. Being invited to somebody's party or being, that kind of stuff. And it was an amazing thing that that event was that important that that person would go and do something like that because they had not been invited. And I said, but what could you have done for yourself that you didn't have to be there with all the important people? Do you know other people that weren't going to be there? Oh, they didn't think about that. They wanted to be where everybody was going to be. That was everybody. You see, this is a part of the journey of some of the things that we do. This is not about liking oneself. This is about wanting to fit in and be a part of the special group. But when you start to like yourself, it doesn't matter how many parties somebody's have. You can say, I can relax at home and watch that marathon I wanted to see on some movies anyway. And I don't have to eat all of that stuff. I can do what I would normally do, and I would enjoy myself. But we have not been given those kinds of messages. You must be included. You see? And so, and because we have a whole society based on this, it's called advertisement. The other word for it is propaganda, but I wasn't going to toss that one in, but something said do it. I said, okay, good, good, good. There you go. So wasn't I supposed to have stopped talking 20 minutes ago?
You're actually right on time.
Good, I'm stopping there.
Reverend Joyce, you are right on time. And that message that you're giving us is to trust ourselves too. So I'm just going to remind, I like myself, I trust myself, I believe in myself, and I'm learning about myself every day.
Yes. It works. It really does. It works.
And what you're saying too reminds us that we're not getting that message in the wider world. And I think what you're saying is very important. And so I'm going to underline it as we leave each other, is that we're not getting that consistent message out in the world. So to take this, and this is being recorded, and this is being, so that you can listen to it over and over again as a reminder that we are responsible and that we can do it.
Yes.
We can do it.
Yes,
So,
we can.
They call it fear of missing out, FOMO. It's rampant.
Yes.
In our greater society. So whenever we can do that for and with ourselves, you've just given us that invitation and that gift. And so I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Lolly, thank you. Donna, thank you. Jan, thank you. Anne, thank you. Patty, thank you. Corky, thank you. And Joyce C., thank you.
And yeah, Joyce better be thanking me here.
That's right.
We'll have to have a talk with her later.
That's right. And just remember the gift of your amazing creativity and your gift of love and light. And I'm just going to read, Donna Christensen said, Joyce, you are an incredible light.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I thank everybody. I've had a wonderful time. And thank you for coming and staying and sharing, because it's just been a good teaching. It's been just a good teaching in the good sense of the word. It's just been a really good teaching.
Yes.
Thank
with
you.
all the good stuff. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a wonderful evening.
Yes.
Always good to see you. Thank you for being here. And by the way, I'm just going to have to quote it. I like you.
I like you all.
I had to read it, though, to make sure I had it right. I like you. I like you. Thank you.
I like you.
Nice.
I like all
Bye-bye.
of you.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Everyone.